The format of tonight's talk is going to be a little bit different from what we usually do. Going to be more like a workshop. So the intention tonight is give everybody an introduction to the website colnect.com. So this all came about because John Sharp last year did a talk about how he inventories his stamps, and some of the discussion or during the discussion, Colnect came up as an option for inventory, and there was a lot of interest, I thought. So I decided that it would be worthwhile doing a whole presentation on Colnect. So I reached out to Gene Whitmore, who I know through stamp boards. So he is the coordinator for the stamp catalog on Colnect, and thinking that I could ask him to participate in a presentation or do a presentation, but he works night shifts, so it was very difficult for him to be available when we do our presentations. So what I decided to do with him was to basically it was originally going to be like an interview, but it ended up just being him doing a little presentation, which I recorded. So I did this back in October, and I edited that video. And so what I'm going to do tonight is basically play you the video with some breaks. So, I'm going to play the video. He's going to talk about some aspects of Colnect, and then I'm going to pause in between the different sections and just give you a little bit of live demonstration, because I think it's easier. He has pictures on his slides, but I think it's a bit easier to see some of these things when you actually can see it in action. So I'm going to be toggling between the video and this screen, which is just a web browser page that I have open on Colnect, and I'll be demonstrating on this tab. Okay, so let's just start with the video then.
Just to introduce myself a little bit, my name is Gene Whitmore. I currently live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm originally from Watertown, New York, just across the St. Lawrence from Kingston. I've been collecting for about 45 years now. I'm 52 now, so I've been collecting all my life. I came to Colnect in 2015 looking for a site to do inventory, and got quite involved with it, and then eventually came to a leadership position in the company in Colnect. Colnect itself starts in 2003 as a catalog for phone card collectors. The founder of the company was a phone card collector, and back in those days, phone cards were very popular, but there was no catalog whatsoever. And there was no real way for collectors of phone cards to trade with each other around the world. So he created this platform to provide a way for phone card collectors to trade with each other all over the world. And it became quite popular among the phone card collectors, and collectors in other hobbies started noticing it and wondering if they could have something similar for their collectibles. The stamp catalog was added in 2008, and at this point now, there's 45 different categories, and within stamps, there's 1.35 million items listed, which is quite a lot if you think about it. It's been going for 15 years. And the important thing to understand about Colnect is it's a wiki, much like Wikipedia. Everything in the catalog comes from user contributions. There is no paid workforce uploading everything. It's all done volunteer ways. People bring up stamps, and then I'll talk a little bit about how the editors bring it in to edit it and organize everything. It's become quite a huge catalog now. They have translation in 53 different languages, from everything from Bahasa Indonesian to almost every European language to several Latin American countries. So it's got a wide range, and all the translation is done by volunteers as well. The important thing to understand about Colnect, because it is a wiki, is it's a work in progress. We don't have everything listed, and we are constantly adding new items every week. So usually averages around 1,000 items a week. And if you ever use Colnect and you find something that is not in the catalog, we have a very easy online submission form that you can use to submit items so that we can add it to the database.
I'm just going to pause it there. So I'll just show you. So this is the front page of Colnect. So when you click, so the website is just colnect.com. And if you just click on here, it shows you all the different categories of collectibles. And as he said, I think there were 45 different ones. So stamps is always up at the top left corner here. You can see there's almost 1.4 million stamps entered. The rest of it is alphabetical. So phone cards are down here. You can see almost 900,000 phone cards. And really anything that you can think of that people collect, sports cards, tea bags, tea labels. I think there's banana stickers on here somewhere, or maybe not banana stickers, fruit labels, I think, fruit stickers. And then if you go into fruit stickers, there'll be banana stickers. Coins, of course, is a big one also. So stamps is the one that we're going to be focusing on tonight.
Colnect is run is basically everything's done by volunteers, and at the key of this are the editors. The stamp catalog has about 90 volunteer editors that do work on various aspects of the catalog. Their job is to first verify new items, make sure the catalog number is right, all the data is correct, at least any data that we have. Correcting errors, data in the catalog that was put in by accident, like a wrong perforation, or the image isn't right, or add missing data, things that are missing from the listing. And all of this stuff can be brought to editors' attention by the users of the catalog. There's a form at the bottom of each stamp's main page that says, help improve our catalog. You fill that out saying, hey, this stamp has the perforation's not right, or the color's not right, or well, something's not right. Or you can submit a better picture, and the editors will look at it, and if they approve it, then it'll be added to the catalog. My position as a coordinator or general editor, I coordinate all the editors' work and try to have sort of a broad view of where we want the catalog to go moving forward. Colnect is really interesting in that we list all types of stamps. It's not a strictly postage stamp catalog like, say, Nickel or Ebert. We list regular postage stamps from national administrations, Cinderella stamps, revenue stamps, personalized stamps, both those that are sold by the national postal administrations and those that are actually produced by private individuals who order stuff from the national services. We carry various private mail service stamps, such as the Scout Mail in the UK or the Imperial German private postal services. And then one final important category we carry are illegal stamps. These are one of the great plagues of stamp collecting in the last 20 years. You have these really unscrupulous producers who are producing stamps in the name of legitimate countries, but those stamps were never authorized, and they're completely bogus. What we're doing in Colnect is trying to provide a complete database of all known illegal issues so that collectors can reference and know whether a stamp is a legitimate stamp or a non-legitimate stamp. Some stamp catalogs like Scott have done some of that with brief listings, but they don't illustrate them and they really don't go into a lot of detail. We try to provide a full listing of that. So those are the 6 major categories of the stamps that we carry, all under the roof of the stamps catalog. I like to say the stamps catalog is a house of many mansions in that sense. We have all these different subgroups that you can go into.
Okay, so I'll just show you guys that. So here I'm in the stamps catalog, and you can see up here, and he'll talk a bit more about these different categories that you can go through to search through the catalog. But if you click on emissions, so these are the different sort of categories of stamps. And here you'll see the ones that he's talking about. So there are Cinderellas here, military, parcel post. Some of these are listed in Scott, like, Scott will list parcel post stamps. They'll list, I don't think they list revenue stamps, but revenue stamps are here. And you'll see Cinderellas. Personalized is what he mentioned as well. Personalized official stamps, personalized private stamps. So under personalized private stamps, you'll see things like, the picture postage. So just to show you quickly. So people have also loaded up, these are like illustrated, the illustrated permit mail, the sort of junk mail that you get, but companies can customize the indicium. And then down here are the sort of Canada Post picture postage stamp. And you'll notice this one here is the one that was issued by Canada Post and distributed to their employees during the COVID pandemic. But a lot of these are private. So they're just people that uploaded pictures of their family. And actually this one, some of you may recognize, this is the one that North Toronto Stamp Club actually produced for CAPEX 22. So that one's there. This gives you a flavor of all the different categories. And in here are all the different types of official stamps too, like commemoratives, definitives, semi-postals. They've just broken them up, so it's a bit easier to search for them if you know specifically what you're looking for.
Trying to get into the catalog, once you go to accept the stamp catalog, it's very easy. You go to colnect.com and you'll see the main introduction page. And the first thing is usually stamps at the first category on the front page of the Colnect website. So you click on stamps. And then from there, this menu will pop up and it will allow you to search for stamps by many different categories. You can search by the country of origin of the stamp, but you can also categorize by lots of other data points. Anything from perforation to color to theme to newly added items. So there's a whole way you can do to search the catalog. So that is the main menu. So if you click countries, you come up to the main index page listing every category, every postal administration in the catalog. If you see a blue inverted or a blue V to the right of a country name, that means the country has subgroupings listed within it, listing different subgroups of stamps within that country category. So the main country listing, if you just click on, say, Canada, you'll get the main postage stamp listings for that country. If you want to see some of the sub-listings, the subcategories, you click the blue V to the right of the country name. Subcategories are used for several reasons. One, to list non-postal stamps. So Canadian Cinderellas, Canadian revenues. Thankfully, Canada hasn't had any illegal stamps produced in its name, but those would be there. Postage stamps for dependent areas, like, for example, the Canadian provinces. So here we have the listing for Canada, and you can see that the subgroups have been popped open, and we've got all sorts of subgroups. We've got the Cinderellas, personalized stamps that have been submitted, not too many of them compared to a lot of other countries, but if you had some privately ordered personalized stamps, they could be listed. The private post offices in Canada, revenues, and then the Canadian provinces. And if you notice, some of the Canadian provinces have their own subgroups. Like we have the British Columbia group having not only its own main postage stamps from the 1850s, 1860s, we also have a subsection for the revenue stamps that were issued post-Confederation.
So I'll just show you that to you guys. So if you go to the main stamps page, go into countries. And then, so here you see all the list of the main countries, and you'll see beside some of them are this V, inverted V, or it's a V, actually, not inverted V, which is what he mentioned. It's basically a drop-down menu. So if we go to Canada, so Canada's up here. So we click on the V beside Canada, and that brings out all the subcategories of Canada. So the Cinderella stamps, you'll see there's 858 personalized stamps. So there's a lot more than when he recorded his video in October. Revenue stamps, and then the provinces also has a little V here. So if we drop that down, you'll see the main page for each province. And then some of these provinces also have subcategories like he mentioned. So Newfoundland has some Cinderella stamps, some revenue stamps. Nova Scotia has some revenue stamps. So this is, you can go into the listing of any of these, and that will bring up. So if we go into, for example, if we just go into the main Canada page, the default is to bring up the listing by year. So I'll let him talk a little bit more about that before I go into some more demonstration.
Now, if you're looking for a country and you cannot find it because it's hidden in a subgroup somewhere, like, say some German state or some region of Russia during the Civil War, you can always go to the top of the page of the country listings, and next to where it says the number of countries and the number of stamps, type in that country box the name of the country you're looking for, and it should pop up.
Actually, I'll just demonstrate that here. So what he means is, so if we go to stamps and then countries, so this is the little search box here. So say, you didn't want to scroll through everything and you were just looking for Japan. You can type Japan, and here's all the different countries or subcategories that have Japan. So it includes things like Japanese occupation. So it just brings it up quickly so you can see all the subcategories. Or if you type Bosnia, for example, it'll bring up Bosnia and Herzegovina, and you can see all the different administrations here. We want Canada, so it just brings up the main Canada page. So It's a very quick way, if you don't want to scroll through the entire list to search for a country.
So once you click a country name like, say, Canada, you're usually going to be brought to the listings by year. This will let you, if you say you know the year of issue of the stamp, click on the year of issue. That will bring up all the stamps of that year. You can also look by other things. Say you don't know the year of issue, but you know a theme, or you have a color. All you have is the color. You have no other idea. You could click on colors in the top row, switch to list, and it'll bring up every color that a Canadian stamp has been printed in, and you can then narrow it down that way. Country usage, if you're more experienced with stamps, you know a bit more about the stamps, then that's probably where you will spend most of your time looking for things.
Okay, so what he's talking about here. So if we go to, we'll go to Canada. And the default, as I mentioned, is the list of stamps by year. So, if you know the year that you're looking for, he's going to go into more detail into 1851. But if you click on 1851, that brings up all the stamps that were issued that year. But if you don't know the year, you can go, for example, you're looking for a stamp, you can go to face values, and it basically lists every different face value on every Canadian stamp, and you can just go and find the one that you're looking for. So if I have a 12-cent stamp, 12 here, there's 89 stamps. So if I click on 89, that'll basically bring up a page with all the 12-cent stamps. You can also, so this is face values. He mentioned colors. If you go to the color list, this is probably not as useful because there's many different shades of color, right? So you may not know exactly what shade your particular stamp is called. But basically, here's a list of all the different colors, official colors that Canadian stamps have been printed in. I would say I probably use the face values one the most because that's a very easy thing on your stamp. Although, if you click on face values and you go to, for example, 48, 49, there were quite a few stamps issued with those face values, right? 45, there were 253. So you have more stamps to look through, but if it's a less common face value, you won't have as many stamps to look through.
So once you click on the year of issue, then you get a thumbnail page showing all the stamps that were issued for that year. Here we have Canada 1851, and here we have 7 listings here showing the different stamps that were issued in that year. If you clicked on another thing by, like, say, themes or colors, all the stamps that match that category, that color, that theme, that whatever, would pop up.
So I just want to show the difference between what my page looks like and what his page looked like. So if I just go back to, so if I click on 1851, this is basically the 7 stamps that he showed on his screen. I've got there's a little button here where you can change the way the stamps are displayed. I like just seeing them in thumbnail view because it lets me see more stamps per page and I can scroll through them faster. But his view was actually this full view where you see the stamp plus all the information about each stamp, and all 7 listings are still here, but it just takes more space on the screen, obviously. There's another option for a table view, which is just listing without pictures, just some of the main attributes of the stamp. So, the one I use the most is the only thumbnail view, but what he's on right now is the full view where you get some information about each stamp as well.
So if you want to go from there, what you see the stamp you want to look at, you can then look at the details of the stamp itself. And here we've got our old 3-penny beaver. It's got the catalog numbers for the various catalogs. It's got the data, the technical data, perforation, printing type, and all that stuff. At the bottom of the listing, you will see minor variants of this stamp. The main listing of the stamp is the main version of the stamp is usually the first listing, and then more specialized items are listed below as minor variants. And so, as I said, main listings are the stamps that are listed in the major international catalogs, whereas the minor variants are variants of the main stamp that are generally only specialized catalog and cover the specialized stuff, shades, flaws, gutter pairs, things like that. So those are our 2 main things. You have a major variety and then a minor variety. Now, if you are not a member of Colnect, the default setting will be to show minor variants as transparent listings in the thumbnail mode of your search. If you're a member of Colnect, you can change this display to show how exactly you want to see minor variants of stamps in the display when you are picked like by year or by color or whatever. The minor variant system that we use today is something we developed over the past couple of years. Before that, minor variants were what were called special variants. That's how they were originally listed in the catalog. And we're in a process of changing that because the nature of the display of the special variants was much more complicated, and it was much harder for users to understand what was a variant, what was not a variant, wanting to see variants if they want, and they couldn't find them. So we decided to move and change the minor variant system into something different, so that all of them would be in this new system where they would be listed with the main stamp. Right now, we're in sort of a transition period between special variants and minor variants. We've gone through about a little over half of the special variants making the minor variants. But for the next 6 months or so, special variants will still sort of be around. If you want to see them, you have to go into your user account settings and mark always show special variants towards the top of the display options. Otherwise, you won't see them. That'll be for another 6 to 8 months or so until we finally get the editors finally are able to transfer everything. We kind of have to do it by hand because it's such a complicated thing. For the minor variants, like I said earlier, you can actually choose how you want them to display. The default is to show them semi-transparent, like if you select a specific year, like Canada 1851, if you have show semi-transparent, then all the minor variants will show up, but they'll be kind of faded out on the screen. You can also choose to show them normally so that the minor variants show as the same level of text brightness as the regular stamps. And then finally, hide when the parent's on the list, we'll put all the minor variants within the listing of the main stamp so that it's nice and condensed and you're not seeing tons of variants at one time.
Okay, so I'll just show you guys what he is talking about with the variants. So if we just go back to my thumbnail view here. So you see the 7 stamps here. This one is a minor variant where nobody has submitted a picture yet. So it's got just the information about the stamp, but no picture. So, but it's basically counts the same as a minor variant. So these 4 stamps on the left, you can see are brighter than these 2 stamps and this one here. So these 3 on the right are what he calls the minor variants, and these are the 4 main stamps. So clearly these 2 are minor variants of this beaver. So if you click on the beaver stamp, you will see those 2 minor variants listed under here. So you get all the information for the main stamp, and plus the 2 minor variants show up here, and you can click on each minor variant. So that shows the picture of it, and you can ask for more details about that, and you go to its own page. I like showing the minor variants as semi-transparent like this because you can look at a glance and see what's a main stamp and what's a minor variant. So what he was talking about in changing the settings, so if you go to your account, so here is where you can change how the minor variants are displayed. So I have them as show semi-transparent. He mentioned you can change it to show normally. So if I update that and I go back to that page, so now you can see that those stamps are showing at the same level of brightness as the main stamp. So you can't at a glance now see that these are minor variants because they're, I mean, if you're knowledgeable about it, you'll realize, but if you're just scrolling through and looking for stuff, these will look like just the main stamps. And then the other option is, if you don't want your view cluttered, is to hide when the parent stamp is on the list. Update my account. So now if we go back to that page, those minor variants are all gone. So it's a nice clean page and you're only seeing the main stamps, which are the main listings in the big catalogs. So I'm just going to set back to the transparent. And then the other thing he mentioned was about the special variants. I'll just show you that. So that's up here, always show special variants. That was one of the big initiatives that Gene did, actually, was converting this sort of special variant system to minor variants. And I think they must be almost done. I mean, I recorded that presentation with him in October, and he said that they were probably going to be done in about 6 months. So, you know, it's February now. I think they must be close to being done. and the minor variant system is going to be much easier to use, I think. So so here's the stamps. We'll just go back to the full view, and you can see, so the main stamps, you can get, you know, when you roll your mouse over it, it does show up larger, but if you want to go to that stamps page, you know, you just click on the heading there, and that takes you directly to that stamp.
One other key point about the stamps catalog is we don't have completely everything related to stamps. Because of the size of the catalog, it was decided a few years back to move certain types of philatelic items to their own separate catalog called philatelic products. So that things that are not actually the stamps themselves or a direct variant tend to be listed in there. Things like first day covers, essays, year sets, presentation packs. They also have branched into carrying things like meter imprints, things like that. So there's actually two philatelic catalogs in Colnect.
I'll just show you where that is. So if you go to the categories, so you see stamps up here, and then philatelic products, so it's all alphabetical. Philatelic products is here. So there's almost 180,000. And all the different things are, let me see, if we go to formats, so you'll see there's annual collections, commemorative sheets, first day postal stationery, first day covers, basically what he mentioned, right? Anything that's not the stamp itself. So it could be covers, postmarks, meter marks, essays. So, and this is for every country, right? So not just Canada. So if you're looking for something specific, now this is by far, you know, not complete. I mean, it's as he mentioned, Colnect entries are all done by volunteers and editors. So people are submitting things. So, you know, if somebody has a collection of essays and they want to load it up into the catalog so that they can do their inventory of it, that's how stuff gets uploaded into here. So there's going to be a lot of, you know, the stamp catalog is fairly complete, but I would say the philatelic product catalog is really mostly driven by people who want to upload the stuff they collect into the catalog.
So that pretty much wraps up how the catalog itself is organized. Now, trying to find things in the catalog, you can approach it by at least three different routes here. If you know the catalog number, you can direct search by that. If you don't know the catalog number, but you have some other piece of data, a perforation, a theme, then you can use the filters to find a matching stamp. Or you can use the image matching that Colnect has to find the stamp. So let's start with the catalog number. If you know the specific catalog number, while you're in the country you're searching, go to the right where it says now showing in the country and go to catalog code and type the catalog number. So just you pick whatever catalog number and type the number in. So for example here, I typed in Canada 214, and this will bring up every stamp with that catalog number in the various catalogs that Colnect supports. Colnect supports around 40 different catalogs. So you're going to get more than one number when you type a catalog number. Here we see the Prince of Wales stamp, which is Unitrade, the War Memorial, which is the Mitchell 214, and the Tank of 1942, which is Yvette 214. Non-members of Colnect will only see major variants when they do search by this. Anything that's marked as a special variant or a minor variant will not show up in this search unless you are a member. So for example, Gibbons 214 is listed as a minor variant in Colnect. So right here, you don't see it on the screen. If you are a member, it would pop up.
So I'll just show you that because I think it's easier to kind of visualize that when you can actually see what's happening. So if I go into stamps and countries, and I'll go to Canada. Okay, so we want to search for 214. So here is the search box, right, where the magnifying glass is. And there's different parameters that you can search by. So you can search by catalog code, by the name, as a phrase or a word in the description. Public note or private note would be things that you had put in yourself. But so let's say we want to do 214, which is what he did. So when we search for 214, there's stamps from 13 different years, and there's 67 stamps altogether. So if I want to see all of them at once, just click on that 67. So as he mentioned, it'll bring up every stamp that has 214 in its catalog number from any catalog. and it can be a number that includes 214. So the first three stamps here, so SN is Scott number. So this is Scott number 214. This one is Michelle 214. And this one is Yver 214. You can see the YT there, 214. This one is not 214, it's 2140 in the Gibbons catalog. So the 214 will also show up there. So that's why there's 67 stamps. But the first three are going to be the ones that have, just the 214. So if I just switch to my thumbnail view for a minute. So what he mentioned was that the minor variants, if you're not a member of Colnect, the minor variants won't show up in your search. But if you look down here and you can see it's semi-transparent. So this is the minor variant he's talking about. If I click on this stamp, this is the number for this, the catalog number for this is 214 in the Gibbons, but it's listed as a minor variant of that stamp in the Gibbons catalog. So that's why it only shows up as a semi-transparent there. And all these other stamps are going to be stamps where probably they have a 4-digit catalog number, and 214 is in that order in the larger catalog number. But the first three are the main ones that show up here.
So that's searching by catalog number. And I find that's probably the easiest way to find things if you know the stamps fairly well. But if you have no idea what the catalog number is, you can choose another way to skin a cat. You can, pick another data point and use that to search by. So for example, you've got a stamp with a certain theme, go up to the switch to list from the year list, go up to switch to list above that and pick themes. This will bring you to a list of all the themes that have been marked on different Canadian stamps in this example. You just search then for the theme that you want and click on that. So for example, here I clicked on bats, and this brought up a list of the different Canadian stamps depicting bats. And so you see you've got the migratory bird issue, you've got the Dracula stamp from the Halloween issue from, I think, what was 95 or something like that. So you've got, and then you can just match your stamp based on, you're looking for a bat. Okay, there's my stamp. You can see the image and match it that way. Now you can do this with other data points. If you have a stamp perforated 11 by 12, you can choose to search by perforation and type on 11 by 12. It'll bring up every stamp perforated 11 by 12 we list. If you have a face value of 49 cents, go to the face value, click on 49. It brings up all the 49-cent stamps. Then you can search that way. So you've got a very flexible system that allows you to use various paths to try to find the stamp that you're looking for if you don't know the catalog.
So I'll just demonstrate that. So if we go back to Canada, so he was mentioning you can search by theme. So you can search by any of these, but I would say, like I mentioned before, I find the face value one the most useful, because if you have the stamp in front of you, it's got the face value on it. And in most cases, there's a small enough number of stamps that you can scroll through them and find the one you're looking for. But, you can also search by themes. So there's a lot of themes, and here we're within Canada, right? So I've got Canada listed here. If we removed this filter, it would list the themes of every stamp in the entire catalog. So you have to be a little careful when you're searching that you're actually not searching in the entire catalog, but have, filtered it down to a country at least, or maybe a year, because otherwise, it's going to take a while for your computer to grind through all that stuff, if it even can. So these are all the themes connected with Canadian stamps. And again, keep in mind that these have been entered by the editors. So it's nothing official. It's just that, collectors, if they are putting the stamp into the catalog and they see it's got a bat on it or butterflies, they'll add those themes to make it easier for thematic collectors to search for stamps with a particular, if somebody collects bats, they can click on bats and it will list a lot of the stamps that depict bats, but almost certainly not all of them, because it just depends on if the editors added the theme when they entered the stamp into the catalog. So if you click on bats here, there's only 8 stamps listed in this category. And actually it's 8 listings, but you can see that it's like 2 blocks of 4, 1 single stamp, 2 full panes, and then the same for the Halloween stamp. So it's really only 2 stamps, but just different formats of that stamp, of those 2 stamps.
And finally, there is the image matching. If you have the stamp and you have the image, and you want to just plop it into the system to have the system match it or try to match it, yeah, it's very easy to do. If you go up to the top, just past where you would enter catalog code, the catalog number, there's a button that says image search, and you click on that. This will bring up a dialog window that'll allow you to upload your image. You can either from the your folder on your computer, or you can grant access to Colnect to access a camera on your cell phone or on your computer to take a snapshot of it. Or if you are looking at something on the internet, you can take a picture. You can link via the internet to try and match the image. The image search function works fairly well in Colnect, but it does have issues. There are a lot of factors that affect how well it matches. If you have a high resolution scan, that's always better than a cell phone picture. That always seems to work better at getting a good match. Mint stamps have better luck being matched than used because cancels play havoc with the AI. The AI are learning how to factor out cancellations, but because cancellations can be completely random on two different stamps, it still makes it difficult for the AI to kind of really pick up what the stamp might be. Finally, if you're taking an image or you have a scan, make sure that the images are closely cropped, not a lot of blank space, really focus on the stamp itself. If you have a lot of extraneous margin around the stamp, that really does affect the ability of the AI to pick up and try to identify the stamp.
So I'll just give you a demonstration of that. So we go back to Canada. So here's where the search box for the catalog code, and here's the button for the image search. So if you go to image search, so I've test drove a couple of images to see how they would work. So I'm going to select, I've got a folder on my desktop called Colnect. So I'm just going to say, I have this image of a stamp and I want to find the catalog number, when it was issued, find some information about that stamp. So I'm going to add that picture just by clicking on it. And then, oh, because I have Canada here, it's not finding it. So I'm going to just remove that filter. Try again. Okay, so you can see it's a pattern recognition AI. So it did find my stamp, but also picked up, here's some purple flowers because there's purple on here. And I don't know, I guess it thinks of flowers, so it has put up here. But you can see some stamps are completely unrelated, but it's just pattern matching. I don't know what sort of parameters the AI is using. But if you're lucky, among these search results will be the stamp that you're looking for. Let's try another one. So let's try that. These are all COVID stamps. So I just picked a couple of stamps to try. So again, this is a stamp from French Polynesia. You can see there's a lot of complexity on this stamp. So some of these stamps are, with people and some shrubbery. But down here, it did find my stamp. So now I can click on that stamp and it'll take me to that page with all the information. So I've got when it was issued, the Michelle catalog number, the Scott catalog number, the Yver catalog number. So, it's a very handy thing. And they also have an app that you can install on your phone as well. And you can take pictures with your phone of stamps and it'll match it to the Colnect catalog. And I use that a lot. It's actually very, very useful.
So everything I've been talking about up to this point, anyone can use. You do not have to sign up to be a member of Colnect. You can use it just as a completely anonymous person, and you'll get the same results. If you sign up as a member, and the basic membership is free, gives you some extra perks to using the catalog. Inventory management and access to the trade and marketplace. These are two big things that have become very popular with our users on Colnect. So the first one, and the one that kind of led to the discussion that led me to invite me here, using inventory management on Colnect. This is quite a very powerful feature for Colnect, is the inventory that we have. If you go to the main page of every stamp, you will see a listing for inventory types that members can use to track their collection. You can mark if you have the collection, stamp, if you want the stamp, if you want to buy the stamp, if you're like not just wanting it, but you're wanting to buy it like now. If you want to swap it or sell it, you can do that. Or stamps that you have no interest in, you can click ignore and you'll never see it in the catalog again. From there, you click on the diamond button, and that allows you to know how many you have in each category of the inventory that you want. And then the star lets you pick the condition that you want. The box to the right allows you to add notes about that, so that it's like, for example, say you have one on cover, you can also add also have one copy on cover, or whatever you want to write about. And that's the same for all 6 of the fields. And then once you have that inventory made, you can go to your user account section and it will generate lists of what you have and what you want in all your various inventories. So for example, here's my personal list of stamps that I want to buy or get from people. So you can see I've got a few countries here and it lists everything that I want. So I got some Brunei, I got some Canada, some US, some Malaysia, various places. And what's really nice about this is when you click on it, you get the list of everything. It's completely mobile. If you're at a stamp show or you're just browsing online, you can just go to Colnect, pop your list up. You'll have everything right there as you're shopping. So you'll know exactly what you need. It's very flexible and it's very portable. You can also, if you don't want to keep it online or you want to make an extra copy for your personal records to keep offline, members can download their list into a CSV file so that you'll have everything in a physical hard copy, well, once you print it out, or you can at least store it offline as well. So you can keep it both online and offline.
Okay, so I'll just show you some examples from my account. So this is my main page. So this is, sort of my front profile page. And you can see here are some of my lists. And you can, if you're a member, you can, you have the basic lists and you can make a couple of extra lists. But if you pay, and he'll talk a little bit more about this, but if you pay a membership fee, you get a premium membership and you can make as many of these lists as you want. It's basically, there's a huge number and I think it's more than you would ever want to make. So for example, if I have my wish list here, these are used stamps that I'm looking for my collection. So you can see all the different countries. If I go into Canada, you can see the stamps that I would like to get by year. In 2022, these are the stamps I'm looking for. And you can also, as he mentioned, so I haven't marked every single stamp in my collection. I find that is probably too much work, but there are people that keep track of, this is a very convenient way to keep track of all the stamps in your collection. What I use this for are for certain areas where, for example, if I have a smaller collection and there's harder things that I'm looking for, I'll mark down which ones I have so that, when I come across something, I can check if I already have it or not. I also use the list to sort of keep track of, when I was collecting COVID stamps, I would basically mark down every stamp that was issued that was related to COVID. So now I have basically a custom checklist of COVID stamps. So here's the list by country. If I actually click on the 527, it basically lists, gives me a page by page list of all of the COVID stamps and blocks and panes that I've ticked off in that list. So, I've set my page to show 200 items at a time. So you can see all the items here. So, to add stamps to the list is very easy. So if we just go to, let's go back to Canada. Here, Canada. So 2024, so there's been only one stamp issue. But let's just go to the full view here. So the Marianne Shad stamp. So I haven't added it to my list yet. I haven't had a chance to do that. So I do want to add this to my collection. So I'm just going to click on wish here. So I've now added that to my wish list. If I already had it, I could put it in collection if I was doing that, or if I had extras, I could add it to my swap list and then take it off my wish list. So if I get a couple, I'll just add it to my swap list. And then when people are looking to swap stamps, they can match what they have on their wish list with what I have on my swap list. And I've not updated my swap list with all of the stamps that I have for swap, but the ones where I'm actively trading. So I have some countries here where a lot of these only have a couple of stamps that I've added, but you can see the main ones. I have a lot of Canadian stamps for swapping. I have a lot of Japanese stamps, almost 5,000 here. I've got some Taiwan, I've got some Singapore. So those are the main countries that I focus on. But people, can look at my profile on Colnect and they can look at what I have available for swap. So I'm just going to fix that Marianne Shad stamp so I don't actually have it for swap. I want it on my wish list. And the other thing he mentioned was, if I had it in my collection, the thing I use the collection list to keep track of some of my thematic collections. So if I have food stamps, so I'm just going to go to my gastronomy collection here. So if I go to themes and I'm looking for food, so these are all the stamps that I have in my collection that are related to food, and I have marked them just because it's easier for me, or this is how I've decided I want to keep track of my mint, food collection. And you can see I've marked it on here. Some of these I've not had a chance to update yet, but this one's in my collection. And if I click on the star here, I can mark what condition I have it in. So I have this in mint never hinge condition. He mentioned if you click on the diamond, you can mark down how many you have, or you can enter it in free text here. So you can type anything in here, make a little note to yourself about, you want 2 copies or you have it on cover, just to help you keep track of that.
So trading on Colnect is another feature that's only allowed for members. And Colnect started as a trading platform. This was for phone card collectors to trade with each other. And we have a very, very, very active trading community on Colnect. If you are into looking for having swaps of stamps, say one-on-one, one stamp for one stamp, that's very possible on Colnect. There's a lot of collectors that are very much interested in that. So if there's a stamp that you're looking to get, you can always click on the when you're in the main stamp page for that single stamp. You scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a list of all the collectors that have the stamp available for swapping. All you have to do is click on a member, see where they are, see what their terms for swaps are, and if they look agreeable, you can then send them a private message to set up a swap. And all swaps are usually organized on a one-to-one basis between collectors. So you would need to reach out to the collector to be able to do the swap. And swaps are, like I said, are very, very common in Colnect, and a lot of collectors are into it.
So I use Colnect mainly for swapping. I mean, I do use it for inventory, but I use it a lot for swapping. So what he was talking about, so if I go to my wish list here and say go to Canada, and let's just go into 2021 here. Just go to my thumbnail view so it's easier to see. So the Christopher Plummer stamp, I think this is the one from the souvenir pane, or the mini pane. So I'm looking for it. So if we scroll down to the bottom, this is what he was referring to. You'll see who has it on their buy list, who has it in their collection. 4 people have it for swap. A whole bunch of people have it on their wish list. So if I go to Conrad here, who has it for swap, this brings me to his page, and I could read, he's got how he likes to swap, and he's got his whole swap list here. So, this is a quick way. If you have a specific stamp that you're looking for, you can scroll down and see what the availability of that stamp is.
So the other thing that's open to members is a marketplace. This is a fairly new element to Colnect. Only in the past 5 or 6 years did they start creating a marketplace for collectors that want to sell items using the platform as a basis for selling. And if you go to the main stamp information page, scroll down to the bottom of the listing of the technical stuff, you'll see if anyone has the stamp for offer, if they're selling them. All you have to do is click there on the green button where it says that this, for example, this stamp has some people on offer. It will then take you to the marketplace where it will show who has the stamp, what the price is, what the condition is, and so forth. So you can directly, if you're looking for a certain stamp and you see someone buying it, you've got a marketplace for that. Members can also go to the marketplace itself and list stamps for sale or search it to buy stamps. It works very much like other sale platforms in that way.
So I have to say, I don't use the marketplace very much, but what he's talking about here, so Christopher Plummer stamp. So if we look at the bottom of the technical information, you can see here that one person has it on offer for sale. So if we click on that, that takes us to the sale page, and it looks like he's got it for sale for $4. So one stamp for $4. So that's kind of a high price. I wouldn't buy it from him, but let's look at another stamp here. So maybe let's look at this pane. So the Valor Road pane. So again, one person has it for sale. You can click it there, and he's offering it for $9.20. You can read his information here. Now, the other thing he mentioned was that you can actually just go directly to the marketplace. So that's the icon up here. And here you can, again, search in stamps. You can search by condition, by country, if you're looking for something specific. So you can enter all the parameters here, and then it'll give you a listing of all the people that have that for sale, and you can buy it directly from them. You can just add it to your cart here. I've never used Marketplace, but some people are quite active buying and selling on Colnect. I use it for inventory, and I use it for swapping.
So from all that, it comes when you are a basic member. You do not have to pay anything to use the sales, to use trading, to use the inventory feature. But Colnect does have a premium membership, which gives some extra bonuses if you want to pay for the cost of the premium membership. For example, you have a swap list. You can, with a premium membership, you can click right on one button, and you can see all the collectors who have the stamps you're looking for. If you're working on your inventory and you have like a whole run of stamps from a country for, say, a certain year, you're allowed to use a one-touch mark everything for that year or for that list or whatever category you've searched by. So it puts them all in your collection category at once, rather than having to click each one. You can customize your lists for inventory and wants a bit further with this. It also gives you more room in your inventory list. There is a cap on the inventory at basic membership. The premium membership raises that cap to something like 400,000 items or something crazy like that. I'm not 100% sure, maybe 300,000, but it's a high number. And then another thing, that the final thing that premium membership does, and which many people will appreciate, is that advertisements will not show up if you have premium membership. Basic members, you'll see ads pop up, but if you have a premium member, the ads are gone, and you don't have to deal with clicking off the ads. And you saw the ads on some of my screenshots earlier. I was making the screenshots in non-member mode to give you an idea of what it looks like when you first jump in. So you do get quite a few advertisements as a basic member. Those are all gone with the premium.
So you might have noticed on my screens, there's no ads because I have a premium membership. Out of all the perks of the premium membership, the one I love the most is the ability to match swap and wish lists with other collectors. So it just makes swapping so much easier. Like you don't have to manually go through somebody's swap list and manually check if it's in your wish list. So just to demonstrate for you, if I go to, so the other thing is you can go to collectors and look for best matches. So these are all people that the system has checked to see that there's a lot of overlap between their wish list and my swap list and their swap list and my wish list. So if we go, for example, to Conrad here that we saw before, so he's got big swap and wish list. So if I just click on this little arrow here, if I want to see what he's got for swap that matches what's on my wish list, I just go to this arrow, double arrow here, match list with my wish list. So his swap list with my wish list, and it generates a list for me in like a second of 85 stamps that he has for swap that are on my wish list. And similarly, we can do the opposite. So I can look for what's on his wish list and what I could offer him for swap. And there's 196 stamps there. So, so this would be someone that I could propose a swap to, and I could send him a message about that. So it's just that, to me, is worth the price of admission. The other thing that Jean mentioned was that you have much more capacity in your list. So I think if you don't have the premium membership, there's a limit to the number of extra lists that you can make beyond the basic ones. And each list can only have maybe 50 to 60 stamps. So, you're limited in the number of stamps that you can have in your list. Whereas you can see I have quite a few in, so you can see I've got, a few thousand. That I think the basic lists, the capacity is higher, but I've got, hundreds in some of these other lists as well. So I can't remember exactly. I think the premium membership is something like 90 euros a year. So, it's not it's, I mean, you can decide if it's worth it for you or not. What I would suggest is exploring it with the basic membership, which is free, and see if you like it and if you feel that it's worth paying that extra for the convenience. So I'm going to just play the rest of the video now. He talks a little bit about future developments of the website.
So that's the basic elements of Colnect. I've been the coordinator since 2018, and since I took over in 2018, we've done quite a bit of structural change to the catalog. Users who were there before 2018 will know exactly that there's been a lot of changes done. We've reorganized how the countries are displayed. We've encouraged more contributions in Cinderellas and revenues, because those areas before had been quite under appreciated and not really supported. And I know there are a lot of collectors that collect revenues and Cinderellas. And unlike stamp, revenues and Cinderellas really don't have a good catalog. I mean, for revenues, Forbin was produced in 1914, and some countries have their own specific catalogs, but there's no one place where you can go and see all the world revenues. And that's something we're trying to create here at Colnect with revenue. Similarly, Cinderella. You can go to a lot of forums and see a lot of threads about Cinderellas, but there is no one place that gives you an overview of all the different Cinderellas available, and no way to sort of inventory them, or even search by themes and stuff the way you can with Colnect. If you want to find Cinderellas that depict dragons, you can just click on the theme dragons and the emission type Cinderella, and there you go. You'll have all your Cinderella dragons. So just sort of to wrap up here, Colnect, like I said, it's a wiki. Everything's done based on voluntary work. I'm a volunteer. I'm not a paid employee of Colnect. I do this because I'm interested in creating a catalog for the future. So everything depends on individuals coming forward and being willing to help build this catalog. The more volunteers we have, the more complete it will become. I like to say it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Every contribution is one little piece, and eventually the entire thing will come together in one full image. But it's going to take a lot of people putting pieces together to do this. Especially for revenues and Cinderellas, we would really we really are looking for help with those, because those are areas that really could use a good online catalog that lists everything that doesn't exist. As coordinator, I really do welcome any and all volunteer help. If you're interested in participating as a volunteer to help build up the Colnect catalog, just contact me at Colnect. My username is DJCMH. And we can get in contact and start talking about how you can help contribute to help build up the catalog. And I want to thank Gene for inviting me for this, and I hope this has encouraged some people to check Colnect out and find out why it's such a useful tool today.
I think I'm going to stop there. So I really want to thank Gene Whitmore for doing that presentation. And I've given him the uninterrupted video, and I think his plan is to actually post that on Colnect at some point. So you'll be able to go there and watch his video uninterrupted if you want.